What up guys, I'm psyched we finally have access to chapter 95 of Attack on Titan, and it's definitely one of the most revealing chapters yet. There's literally so much to talk about, like the Ninth Titan and the truth about Reiner's father, two of the mysteries I was insanely curious about. If you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe because we have plenty of Attack on Titan videos on the channel already and many more on the way. Now, if you're psyched and ready to go, smash that like button and let's jump right into the chapter review. The manga chapter starts with Reiner and Gabby, and finally we get a scene where Gabby finally calls out Reiner for acting different. I was really wondering about when that would happen. I mean, this is his family after all. Again, we see just how much Gabby cares about Reiner. Gabby speaks about Reiner living through her through the inherited memories of the Armored Titan, which is a really interesting concept that I look forward to seeing more of. The first king has seemingly lived on in this way through the Reese/Fritz family until Grisha finally took the power of the founding titan from them, but he always has the potential to come back. We see that Gabby's dream of inheriting the Armored Titan is also tied to her love for her cousin, Reiner, which is why she gets so passionate about inheriting the power. It's a way for her to stay close to him even after he dies. Then we see Falco, who is pumped up as ever to surpass Gabby, inherit the Armored Titan, and save her from the curse of Ymir. However, as much as I'm enjoying the information we're getting about how things are for Eldians in Marley, I do miss our main characters, and I'm really hoping that we see them soon. How do you guys feel about this? Let me know. Gabby and Falco butt heads, both passionately wanting the Armored Titan power. We just talked about one of the reasons why Gabby wants it, but it also goes beyond that. Falco more realistically wants to save Gabby from it, while Gabby idealistically believes that by working with the government of Marley, she can actually save the Eldians. Her character and her naive trust in the Marleyan government is definitely reminiscent of Reiner and the way he was idealistic and blindly believed that he could save Eldians by killing bad Eldians from the island. Then we get an interesting scene of the current generation of Marleyan warrior shifters having tea. It's nice to have tea sometimes, says Zeke. I guess he means when you're not killing scores of people and turning them into titans, it's nice to have some relaxing tea time. But on a serious note, these chapters have been trying to humanize these characters, so let me know if it's working for you guys. Have you guys started to empathize with these characters, or are you still like, no way, no enemy of Mikasa can ever get my sympathy, baka? These instances are what the YouTube comment section are all about, so guys, let me know. Anyways, Zeke points out that there is a problem. Since the Marleyan people have crushed resistance using the power of the Titans, the world hates the Eldians who can become Titans more than they ever did. So the solution that Zeke, who is a genius and tied with Hanji for smartest character in the manga, comes up with is they have to devote themselves to Marley. Which is funny because it is exactly that kind of thinking that got them to this point. I really do think that Zeke cannot be this completely brainwashed. I've said it before. He has to be planning something, but the question is what? Then afterwards, the Marleyan commander Magath, who is eavesdropping on their private conversation with the other higher-ups, mentions that if Zeke hadn't said some unnecessary things, and then he lets it trail off. Probably meaning that if Zeke hasn't said some unnecessary things, then maybe Galliard might not have questioned the plan, which is interesting. Again, another small but meaningful clue that something is off about Zeke. With his 11 out of 10 score in intelligence, we can assume that he wouldn't say unnecessary things by accident. I believe that everything he does is intentional. But that's beside the point right now. The big news in this conversation was the reveal about the Ninth Titan power. Zeke says that to turn the world's opinion around about the Eldians, they need a narrator. They will have to make clear the threat posed by Paradis Island, and then supposedly deal with the threat, meaning that the world will come to see these Eldians who brutally put down all of their resistance as heroes. Kind of a naive train of thought, but anyways, that is what Zeke is saying publicly while being monitored by the higher-ups. But the interesting thing is that he will have the Tiber family, if I'm saying that correctly, assume this role. Now, here's where things get real crazy. Apparently, the family controls the power of the Warhammer Titan, the ninth and final Titan power. If you guys remember, Before the Great Titan War, aside from the founding Titan which went to the royal family, the other 8 Titan powers went to the other important families, which always fought, and in this way pretty much allowed Marley to come to power. The Tiber family apparently was the first to betray the Eldian king and side with the revolution. Now, unlike other Eldians, they live in mansions and are very well off. They adopted a non-interventionist policy in both politics and war, which explains why they never aided the Marleyan army. They also appear to have a lot of influence, which is interesting. So this does prove that the Attack Titan was one of Marley's 7 Titan powers before it was stolen by the Owl, because they never had access to the Warhammer Titan. Porco Galliard sees a problem since the Tiber family, despite having the power of the Titan, has not fulfilled their duty to protect the country, so they shouldn't act like heroes all of a sudden when the Eldians were suffering in internment zones all this time. Now, we don't actually see the Titan, and apparently they haven't really used it, as Galliard points out, so the question will remain, do they really have it, or are they bluffing that they still have it to preserve their lifestyle and influence? Because we know that Rod Reese also successfully pretended that the founding Titan was still in his possession to protect himself. So it still is possible that the Titan power might actually be with someone on the island of Paradis until we actually see it and not just get hearsay evidence regarding it. I'm really curious about how it's going to look, since you don't really see Titans with weapons like a Warhammer usually, except in ancient drawings, so I'm wondering what it will look like. Let me know what you guys think the appearance of this 9th Titan would look like in the comments section below. This family promised in front of everyone to gain control of Paradis in 1 year, but will they actually use the power of the Warhammer Titan or just leave it to the Marleyan warriors to do? That remains to be seen. Then after that mind-blowing revelation, we get another flashback of Reiner's life. We see Annie and the female Titan and even Marcel as the Jaw Titan, who again looks significantly different from Ymir's Jaw Titan form and noticeably different from Porco's form. We don't necessarily get any new information about the Titan powers, as we already knew the Jaw Titan is smaller than the other 2, but it's also the most agile and is referred to as an Assault Titan, which is pretty cool. The Beast Titan is said to be, as always, somewhat bigger than the others, and it mentions his pitching skills that can be extremely powerful long-distance weapons. Again, Isayama reminds us of Zeke's secret power, the Miracle, the Child of Wonder, which likely refers to his ability to turn and control Titans. Of course, people cannot figure out why he's so special, and I believe that even though Zeke knows it is because of his royal blood, he purposely is withholding the information from the Marleyan government. I think Isayama is regularly reminding us to be on the lookout for Zeke's possible secret plans. And we even see Peak in the Cartman or Mule Titan, and although a lot of you think this is like the worst Titan ever and would never want to get stuck with it, and I agree, the military does point out its exceptional endurance and its versatility when it comes to using different equipment. But you have to hand it to the Mule Titan. Peak can stay in that form for months, even if carrying cargo is not the most glamorous of jobs. That being said, I do like the character of Peak, and I look forward to seeing more of her in the future. It is also cool how they call the Colossal Titan the God of Destruction. I never thought of that or phrasing like that, but it makes perfect sense as a name and goes really well with the Colossal Titan power. Then Commander Magath's colleague says that people of the world will probably come to sympathize with the devils on the island because they will too be attacked by this god of destruction, which is a great point. Then we see Magath make the point that it is madness for the military to entrust the retaking of the founding Titan to 4 children, while his friend points out that they just crushed an entire country. Here we see that Magath does see the Eldian warriors as children and more importantly humans, while most of the others, like his colleague, see them only for their destructive potential and only really as monsters. Then we get a huge reveal. As the warrior children get ready to go to Paradis, Reiner sees his dad. He confronts him in the barracks, where his mother worked before she got pregnant. He seems to be an ordinary low-class Marleyan worker. Finally, Reiner's dream after all of his hard work is about to come true. He has worked so hard to become a warrior and get honorary Marleyan status so that his mom and dad and him can live together as one big happy family. He idealistically thought that his father would no longer have to feel ashamed of him and his mother. But he's wrong. His Marleyan father makes it clear how it was all always a pipe dream. He says that if anyone finds out he was the father of an Eldian, his whole family would be finished. He would be beheaded. He said he'd run from Reiner, the child of the Eldian devil. He says that to his own son. And in this way, he proves what was sort of pretty obvious already, that the honorary title is a farce. Even with all this hard work and sacrifice, most people, including his own father, will still see Reiner as a devil, as a monster. Then we jump to an image of his mother seeing him off. She says that his father would certainly pray for Reiner's success, and we get one of the saddest moments in the manga for me. Knowing that his father hates him and doesn't care about him at all and probably wants him dead, Reiner says yeah, agreeing with his mother, not wanting to upset her. He continues playing the role of the perfect idealistic son, which he knows his mother wants him to be. People, grown adults, are cheering them on, wanting these child soldiers to kill the island devils so that their lives might improve. Not that it wasn't clear already, but man, this is one messed up world. Nevertheless, Reiner takes on his role with renewed vigor. He says he will save everyone from the devils on the island and become a hero of this world. So naive, but you have to empathize with Reiner. With his hopefulness, despite all of the sorrow and unfairness in the world, Reiner is the only one smiling and waving back to the people. And to his mother, the only one playing the role of the willing hero, while Bertolt, Annie, and Marcel all frown. Then we see the young shifters on the island of Paradis. They pass the outer seawall of the island and are told to capture the founding titan. And we actually see a young Bertolt talking about the founding titan power and how the king of the walls won't use it, even if they break down the walls. Really, the whole premise for them being there is a farce. There is no real threat. While Reiner, despite being rejected by his Marleyan father and having his hopes crushed, tells him to believe in Marley's research, and Marcel agrees with Reiner since there is no turning back. It seems like everyone is hesitant about killing the demons inside the walls except Reiner, who is shocked by everyone's lack of resolve. Then we finally figure out why Reiner actually got chosen over Porco Galliard. It was because Marcel intervened so that the army would have a higher opinion of Reiner and a lower opinion of his brother. And Marcel admits that he wanted to protect his brother, similar to how Reiner and Falco are now trying to protect Gabby. Reiner is shocked. He can't believe that he wasn't entrusted with the power because of his own hard work and merit, but because of Marcel. He also doesn't understand why Marcel's apologizing, since inheriting the Titan is supposed to be the greatest honor, even though it's clear that the others don't see it that way. Now, we cannot underestimate the mental destruction that's going on in Reiner's head right now. After he got rejected by his father, he put all of his remaining dreams and hopes into being a successful warrior. Even if his father didn't want him, the Marleyan government saw his worth and blessed him with the power of the Titans, the greatest glory. However, now his friends are not acting like it's a blessing but a curse, and it seems like he was only chosen not because of his hard work and merits, but because of the fact that Marcel sabotaged his own brother. I mean, when you think about everything that happened in this chapter alone, you can totally see how Reiner developed a split personality disorder. You can totally see how he had to suppress these memories. He had to betray his friends from the 104th Training Corps, who accepted him as their own for the sake of a society that utterly rejected and hated him. Then, as if things couldn't get worse, we see Ymir's Titan jump up behind him, and Marcel, one of Reiner's few friends, pushes him out of the way and is devoured by Ymir's Titan. Reiner runs away and thinks that he'll save everyone and be a hero. The closing caption says that the boy who lost everything runs towards destruction, and I really don't think that there is a better way to word what just happened to Reiner in this chapter. All of his hopes and dreams have been utterly smashed, and yet he can't accept that. So he continues to believe that he can save everyone and be a hero. He continues to hold on to that warped view of reality, even as he sees it crumbling down all around him. And there we have it, guys. Chapter 95 of Attack on Titan and my thoughts about it. One of you guys said that Attack on Titan was the saddest story in the comments, and this chapter definitely supports that point. Unbelievable. We did get big info about the 9th Titan, but to be honest, that news did not have as big of an impact on me as did Reiner's story. Tell me what you guys think about this chapter in the comments. What do you think of Reiner? Has your perception of him changed at all? What do you think of the Warhammer Titan? As usual, I can't wait to see what happens next. Isayama is definitely the king of suspense. Alright, that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you liked it, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more Attack on Titan videos. And until next time, see you, Space Cowboys.